Welcome to the school year's first episode of Dorm Room Sports Chat. I'm your host, Emi Comilla, and I'm joined by our three analysts, Salva Carmona, Evyn Murray, and Joey Petrello. Tonight, how Arizona football routed South Carolina State, Sean Miller's new five-star recruit, and women's volleyball team success in the Arizona Desert Classic. Head coach of Wildcat Hockey, Sean Hogan, joins Joey in the studio, and we'll wrap it up with some analysis of today's NFL games. Arizona football got back to business last night as it hosted South Carolina State in front of a crowd of 43,919. The Wildcats annihilated the Bulldogs in 56-0, and they broke a school record with 43 first downs, and this was their first shutout since 2008. Evyn, Arizona football has had many contributors all over the field. With that said, who's the standout player so far?
Well, we're going to go with the obvious one, which is Matt Scott. He threw for 30 of 36 passing and threw 3 touchdowns and rushed one himself. So Matt Scott's the obvious one. He is in the Pac-12. He's ranked number 1 in total offense and number 4 nationally. So that's huge. But the big thing about U of A football is that we have so many options. Like last game against South Carolina State, we had 8 touchdowns, and every touchdown was by someone new. We had 4 receiving, 4 rushing, Morrison, Tutogi, Carey, Scott himself, Buckner, Jenkins, Willett, and Baker. So we had everyone contributing, and I think that's the biggest thing about Arizona football this year.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Matt Scott is the MVP so far of this team. He's the anchor. But with that said, you're right. We have so many other contributors. You have Kadeem Carey. You have Daniel Jenkins, Dan Buckner, as you mentioned, Tutogi. He's playing offense and defense. You have Richard Morrison, punt returning. John Bonanno, he missed that short kick in the last game, but the game before that against Oklahoma State, he made all the kicks that he needed to, and just it's been an overall team effort so far.
And we can't forget about Austin Hill. He was quiet this past game, but against Oklahoma State, he had 124 yards, huge. So he was the big standout against Oklahoma State, and then Dan Buckner came in this game. So I just really like the diverse. Matt Scott can go to just about anyone.
So, I mean, Joey, you guys touched a little bit on this, but the Wildcats are running a completely different system this year. How much credit can we give to the coaching staff towards the team's success so far?
Well, you can give it a lot of credit because obviously Mike Stoops was not cutting it last year, and Tim Kish did an okay job. He had success a little bit because he beat ASU, but still, he's not the kind of guy that's going to lead a team to victory. We got Rich Rod at head coach that he's making Greg Byrne look like an absolute genius right now. He brought in so many guys that he used to coach with: Calvin Maggi, Rod Smith, Jeff Castile. The Wildcats defense is much better this season than last season because of Castile. I have to say that the coaching staff should be given a lot of credit.
Yeah, they have that can-do attitude that I think Stoops was just like almost gave up on it. Like against Oklahoma State, do you think Stoops would have been, I mean, I don't think he would have given the atmosphere to the players to think that they were even going to win the game.
And Rich Rod, one of my favorite things about him is how gutsy he is. He hates punting. Yeah. He goes for it on 4th down. If it's 4th and 1, a lot of times 4th and 2 as well. 4th and 3, he might go for it if he's in the other team's territory, but I love about Rich Rod that he just hates punting. He's aggressive. He's trying to score. He wants to score big, and they're doing it. So,
well, I mean, we do have that cutthroat attitude, but, I mean, Salva, the Cats need 3 more games to make it to a bowl game. Can we assume that that Arizona will be playing in a game in December this season?
Well, I don't think we should take anything for granted, but at current situation, 3-0, I think it's very possible. We're only 3 victories away. I think we'll definitely beat Oregon State, and I will definitely beat Colorado. So that will put us in 5 victories. And out of UW, Utah, ASU, and UCLA, there's a big chance we'll win at least a couple of those games. So that will put us in at least 6-6, 7-5, or even 8-4 situation. I think it'll be really hard for us to beat Stanford, USC, or Oregon, especially Oregon coming up this weekend. But I think there's a big chance, and if we are 7-5 or better, nobody can complain about the situation of Arizona football because the new coaching staff, new players. I think it'll be a huge success if we could go 7-5 or better.
No doubt. I think ASU is definitely very beatable. Colorado should not be a difficult win. Stanford, I don't think will beat Stanford. Oregon, I don't think so. USC, probably not. Oregon State, definitely. I could see them winning all those games. So I think they will definitely be playing in
I totally agree, especially with the current schedule. It's kind of a shame for us right now. We're not playing Washington State this season because that will also be an easy victory for us. And
UW's beatable too.
Yeah, exactly. UW's beatable, and I mean
UCLA is going to be tough.
Yeah, UCLA will be tough. Colorado will be the easiest. They lost yesterday against Fresno State, and I don't know. I believe we're 7-5 is doable.
I mean, and we're saying certain teams may not be beatable, everything like that. Oklahoma State, who in a million years would have thought we would beat them. So
right, exactly.
You have that too.
You never know what to expect with this Arizona football team. That's another thing that I love about it. It's just you just don't know what to expect. It's been a roller coaster ride throughout, and the Rich Rod era so far, I would say, has been a huge success.
All right, thanks, guys. The 3-0 Wildcats improved their ranking to number 22 in the nation. They go on the road next week to face number 3 Oregon. When DRSC returns, we'll introduce you to Sean Miller's new 5-star recruit, Arizona basketball's prospect, Rondé Jefferson.
I'm Derek Williams, the former U of A Wildcat. You're watching UATV. Don't change the channel.
Make no mistake, I don't do anything for free. I keep my enemies closer than my mirror ever gets to me. And if you think that there is shelter in this attitude, where do you feel the warmth of my gratitude? I get the feeling that it's 2 against 1. I'm already fighting me, so what's another one?
Come game time, pressure falls on the shoulders of this season's drum major.
For an entire week, there's golfing, food, drinks, and entertainment that doesn't stop when the sun goes down.
If you are not yet registered to vote, here's what an Arizona voter registration form looks like.
Bundle up, Wildcats, winter is almost here. Reporting from the UA Mall for Wildcats, I'm Shay Sorensen.
Last Thursday, Arizona head basketball coach Sean Miller got a verbal commitment from his 6th 5-star recruit, Rondé Jefferson. Check out his mixtape, which was brought to you by Ballas TV.
Ballas.
Evyn, that mixtape was so impressive, and Rondé Jefferson's high ranking of 14 on the 2013 class ESPNU 100 speaks for itself. Tell us about the talents he brings to the Arizona basketball squad.
Well, Rondé Jefferson is huge for Arizona. It's our 2nd recruit for the 2013 class. Elliot Pitts was our first one, 4-star. But Rondé Jefferson brings the East Coast edge that this West Coast team needs, and he's long, he's athletic, he's a left-handed shooter, and his strengths are the ability to create, good ball handling skills, competitive, gritty, huge on the defensive end. His weaknesses, he's not a huge scorer, and his three-point shot. So he averaged 12.1 points a game last year. Not a huge scorer, but with us, like the shooting guards that we have and everyone else who is fully capable of putting points on the board, we need him on the defensive end, because for Sean Miller, I feel like that's the most important thing for him, with Jefferson at least.
And this guy is really excited to become an Arizona Wildcat.
Yeah.
You remember Josiah Turner? He was a 5-star recruit last year, and we all know how that worked out. But I feel like it's going to be a lot different with Jefferson because he just seems more disciplined, and I feel like he could pan out very well for the Arizona Wildcats. He's a very good defender. You know, he's got to work on his shot a little bit, his jump shot. But other than that, I'm really optimistic about Rondé Jefferson.
Yeah, he's a 6'7" small forward, 215 pounds. His body right now is really not an issue. I mean, he has a little bit of growing in to do, but besides that, he has a pretty mature body for his age and still coming up. So
And still has one more year to go before coming to college.
Right.
So.
Right, of course. He's got another year to improve, another year to work on that jump shot. He's got size. He's a great defender, as I mentioned, so nothing to worry about, I don't think.
Well, with that, Joey, we missed the NCAA tournament last year, and we also lost to Bucknell in the NIT, and there was some buzz that Sean Miller could be in trouble. After getting a commitment from such a highly touted recruit, is Coach Miller in any sort of hot seat right now?
Well, there was a little bit of buzz going around that Sean Miller could be on the hot seat. A loss in the first round of the NIT to Bucknell is really embarrassing, especially when you began the season ranked number 16th in the country. That team was expected to go deep into the NCAA tournament, but that wasn't the case. But now, after getting all these good recruits, he's got Elliott Pitts, Rondé Jefferson, and think about this. Rondé Jefferson turned down Florida, Memphis, Rutgers, Syracuse, Temple, and Texas. So he turned down Billy Donovan's offer to play for a great program in Florida. He turned down Jim Boeheim from Syracuse. He turned down a lot of good programs to come to Arizona. So I give credit to Sean Miller 100%, and I think he's on the right track again. I don't expect any more first-round losses to, bad basketball teams in the NIT anymore. I expect this team, at least in 2013, to make a decent run in the NCAA tournament.
I agree with that, actually. In fact, I think Sean Miller would have been in the hot seat if he was not landing this type of recruits, and he would stay, and the team would stay just as weak as they did last year.
Well, Salva, the commitment's only verbal. If Jefferson shows he could still sign with another school, what do you think it would take for Jefferson to bail out on Arizona?
I think he could bail out on Arizona. The only reasons he would bail out, like I said, maybe probably because of the lack of competitors that the U of A has shown in the last few years, not being competitive only at certain times and not consistently through time. Also the presence of other possible teams that could lead him to the NBA career in just 1 year, kind of like a Calipari one-and-done type of coach. If Calipari goes to his house and shows up with a ring in his finger, I'm sure he'll be tempted to join a coach like him, like Calipari, Pitino, Bill Self, Ben Holland. Those guys are probably the biggest threat to Arizona, to him committing to Arizona.
And like I said, this guy is really excited to be an Arizona Wildcat. I think the only reason that he would ever bail on us is if, like he said, if there was just, if this team just flopped out like they did last season. But I don't expect that. I mean, Solomon Hill is going into his senior year, I believe, and they got some good leaders on this team. So yeah. I think they're going to be okay. I expect them to make the NCAA tournament this year.
No questions asked, I don't think.
I think it'll be a disaster if they don't qualify for the NCAA tournament at this point.
Yeah, they got to do that. Anything in the NIT, first-round losses are just unacceptable at this point. But I'm pretty confident that he's going to stay because he turned down some really good basketball programs to come to us.
I mean, McHale seems like it's a much bigger buzz this season. I mean, people are dropping body weight, working out a ton, getting body percentage, fat, like way down, just working really hard on off season, and that's huge. And I think that Jefferson won't find a reason to want to bail on Arizona.
This team is driven. They don't want to be like last year. They got rid of Josiah Turner. Sadiki Johnson is gone. So all those locker room poisons are gone. So I think they'll be fine.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. The Wildcats will play their annual Red and Blue game October 21st at the McHale Arena. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Joey sits down with head coach of Arizona Wildcats hockey, Sean Hogan. Don't change the channel.
my yard. I see those clones looking down on me, but unlike those clones, this dog is free. Oh Lord, it's a dog's life. Oh Lord, it's a dog's life, dog's life. Oh Lord, it's a dog's life.
With an undefeated 5-0 outcome for the Fall Classic Tournament.
The Occupy movement is taking hold because of its strength in numbers.
Tonight is the absolute last night to ride the trolley, as it is closing for 2 years.
I'm sitting on what used to be known as Bear Down Field, which will soon be U of A's new practice field.
I'm Evyn Murray, reporting from McHale Center with Wildcast.
Hello, Wildcat fans, and welcome to our first short segment of Dorm Room Sports Chat. Right now, I am joined by the Arizona Wildcats head coach of hockey, Sean Hogan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And so last season, the Wildcat hockey team went 13-18-3. They finished number 25 in the final rankings. So, Coach, talk to us about last season, what the team learned, and what's going to help this season.
Well, last year was my first year as head coach of the Wildcat hockey program. I was at Western Michigan University before that, and I was really excited to get the opportunity here at the University of Arizona. I think as a transitional year, it went really well for us. We beat some good teams. We had 3 wins against top 5 opponents. We beat Oklahoma. We beat Ohio University. So that was exciting for us. The one thing that we definitely want to improve on is we want to beat ASU. But we also lost 11 one-goal games. I think that was a big reason why we finished at 25 and not any higher. But it was a good transitional year, and we're excited and looking forward to this year.
So you think now that you have a year under your belt that the second year is going to be a lot easier?
Oh, absolutely. I think I was hired late last year. I was hired in August, so there wasn't a lot of time to prepare and get things going. So we have a whole year now, and the big benefit now is we've had a majority of our guys have played in our system for a year. We brought in 9 new recruits, and those are going to be the guys that will be in the learning process. But most of our players have an idea of what we're trying to accomplish in all three zones, and that's an exciting thing. It makes it easier as a coach.
So do you have a set first line, or what about goalie? I know last season it was kind of switching on and off between Herman and Sizzler. So what's your plan for that?
Well, in regards to lines, we're not really haven't established those yet. We tried to get away out of the habit of saying our first line, second line, third line. There's so much transition in hockey, so many changes. We want a team effort every night. We want all 4 lines contributing, and that's definitely something that can happen with our 21 guys that are being in the lineup each night. So that's an exciting thing. In terms of goalies, we'll probably we absolutely will take a goalie out of our walk-on tryout. So we'll carry 4 goalies this year, and that job's up for grabs. So with Herman and Sisler and Bob Schultz and whoever that 4th guy is, they're all going to be competing for that number 1 job, and whoever's playing well at the time or whoever has the hot hand is going to be the guy that's going to be going in net.
All right, so you guys are opening up the season September 26th on the road against Northern Arizona University. What's your plan to attack them?
Well, one thing we've talked about, the kind of the character of our team, we want to outcompete and outwork our opponents. So that's kind of the attitude that we're going to have going into NAU. We're going to outwork them, we're going to outwill, we're going to outcompete. And we have a bigger team this year. We're more physical and we're faster as well. So I'm really looking forward to that matchup.
All right, so talk about this year's senior class and what do they bring to the table?
Well, we had a great group of seniors. Brian Slugaki's captain. He's a senior this year. Jared Lowell's a senior. Guys who contributed pretty much every night last year. The good thing about our veterans are, like I said a little bit earlier, is now they can be in a teaching role with some of the younger guys where it wasn't the coaching staff last year teaching 30 players. Yeah. Now it's some of our veterans can explain things to some of our younger guys, and we have that group of leadership right now that can make that happen.
And you just mentioned some of your new recruits. What can we expect from the freshmen this year?
Well, we brought in nine pretty good hockey players that we're excited about. Ansel Ivans-Anderson is a transfer from University of New Hampshire. Matt Nowicki's a transfer. Jason Efforts is a transfer. We're really excited about Brendan Parker and Mike Adamowitz, 2 forwards from the North American League. And a player that I coached, Nick Hinsberg, when I coached junior hockey. He's a good, tough kid, strong academically as well. And then we have Kyle Ambrosi and Tyler Bowmanis that we're excited about as well. So it's going to be a pretty good. It should be 9 guys that can contribute night in and night out.
So you mentioned earlier that you're hosting an open tryout tomorrow. Any specific positions you're going to be looking for?
No, not really. I think when we host an open walk-on tryout, an open tryout like that, we'll have a lot of guys there. There'll be about 60 players, 60 participants looking to be part of the Wildcat hockey roster, and that's an exciting thing. But we'll take whatever position that is. We'll take the best available hockey players.
Great. So you told me once that the number one thing that you want this year from the fans is to have more students come out to the games. So can you just tell us what's going to be the most exciting part of going to an Arizona Wildcats hockey game, and why should more students come out to watch them?
Well, that's a good question. There's a couple different things that we have going on that's unique to sports here at the U of A. One, for example, if you're over 21 years old, they serve alcohol and liquor at our games. And then the tickets are extremely affordable. They're only $5 for students. And then what's really going to be exciting is when they get a streetcar done, we'll have the easy transport from the campus to the TCC. Right now we run shuttles for students, no charge. So there's really not a lot of reason not to come. So if you can come out and it's only $5 and you want to have a good time, then Wildcat Hockey is the place to be.
Great. And one last question. I know you're a fan of the NHL. Possible lockout this year. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's disappointing. It's disappointing that the players and the owners can't come to an agreement on how to share all that revenue. I mean, there's definitely enough to go around. How that directly affects Wildcat hockey, for example, John Watanabe is a player that was a senior last year. He just signed to be in camp with the St. Louis Blues minor league affiliate team. So what happens with the lockout is all the NHL players, a lot of them go play in Europe, and they displace those European players who come here and play in the minor leagues here. So that makes it extremely difficult for players coming out of college looking for minor league hockey opportunities. So that's how it would directly affect us with the lockout. Hopefully it'll be solved here pretty soon, though.
All right, well, Coach, thanks for coming on to the show. As I said previously, the Arizona Wildcats will open their season against Northern Arizona University, and that's going to be on the road. So thanks again, Coach. It was good having you, and we'll see you.
No problem. Thanks again.
Hi, it's David Hasselhoff, the Hawk. Get Hawk with UATV. Stay tuned. Don't change the dial.
Hey guys, welcome back. Here's a quick update on what's happening around other sports here at the U of A. Over the weekend, the Arizona women's volleyball team swept UC Irvine, Boise State, and American at the Arizona Desert Classic. The Lady Cats' record currently stands at 8-3, and they will play the first conference game against rival Arizona State this Tuesday at home. Also, on Friday night, the Arizona women's soccer got off to a great start in Los Ventana Canyon Cats Classic with a 2-0 shutout victory against Florida International. Right now, the team is facing off against Loyola Marymount to conclude the Classic. And now we'll have a rundown of today's scores of the West Coast teams in the NFL. The Arizona Cardinals came into Foxborough and upset the New England Patriots 20-18. San Diego Chargers beat down the Tennessee Titans 38 at home, 38-10 at home. And the Oakland Raiders fell to 0-2 after losing on the road to the Miami Dolphins 35-13. The Seattle Seahawks surprised many after beating the Dallas Cowboys 27-7. Right now, the San Francisco 49ers lead the Detroit Lions in I believe it's the half right now. And analysts, which game stuck out to you the most today?
Well, I think we'll start with the obvious one, which is the upset with the Cardinals and the Patriots. That's huge because, well, tight end Aaron Hernandez wasn't playing for the Patriots, though. That's a big one. That's a big loss for them. And then Cobb started as quarterback because Skelton is not healthy. But I think that says a lot about how Cobb's going out there, finishing games, taking over pretty much the starting position. I don't think Skelton's going to come back on this one.
Yeah, I expect that Kevin Cobb secured his spot as the starter of the Cardinals after especially beating a team as prestigious as the New England Patriots. But I'm going to go with the New York Giants game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In that game, the Giants won 41-34. Hakeem Nicks had 10 catches for 199 yards, and Victor Cruz also had 11 catches for 179 yards, and Cruz got 34 points for my fantasy team. That was huge. Eli Manning set a career high with 510 yards passing, so that was just a crazy game. There was a little bit of skirmish between the teams because Tom Coughlin was saying that one of the players cheap-shotted one of his players, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers players cheap-shotted one of his. So I thought that was the most interesting game.
The most interesting game for me, or at least the one that shocked me most, was the Oakland Raiders-Miami Dolphins game. Miami beat the Oakland Raiders, and I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple of weeks ago in Hard Knocks on HBO, we saw the Miami Dolphins, the controversy with Chad Johnson and all the stuff they're facing and surrounding the team. So I was surprised they beat the Raiders, especially on a game like this. And honestly, like if you're a Miami fan at this point, especially after the Hard Knocks show, I would be really surprised if people don't think their own team stinks. So I was surprised they pulled a victory today.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good win for the Dolphins today, but I'm just really surprised at how bad the Raiders are this year. They were supposed to be a team that was going to compete. They almost made the playoffs last year, but they fell just short, and Tim Tebow, when he was with the Broncos, went on to the playoffs, of course. But I'm just really surprised at just how bad the Raiders are. They lost 35-13 to a Miami Dolphins team that is not very good.
It's awful.
The Dolphins were crushed by Houston last week, and Ryan Tannehill couldn't do anything against that Houston defense, and he picked apart Oakland today.
Right.
So
yeah, the good thing about the Miami Dolphins is that they have one more victory than they would have expected at this time of the season, but it's still surprising that they beat Oakland. Right now, at this point in the NFL, I would argue worst three teams are the Miami Dolphins, Oakland Raiders, and Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, I'm also pretty surprised to see that the AFC East is all 1-1 teams. It's up in the air right now. I expect the Patriots to take it, though. I mean, there's no question about that. I feel like today's loss to the Cardinals was kind of a fluke. Actually,
it was a miracle they didn't win.
It was very much so a fluke. The game was at home. That was New England's first home opener loss since 2001, and in 2001 they also won the Super Bowl. But
yeah,
so who knows? That's what's beautiful about football and sports in general. Just who knows?
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks. We're gonna cut to commercial, and we'll be right back. I guess not. Well, next Saturday, the Arizona football team heads to Eugene, Oregon to face the number 3 ranked Oregon Ducks. Analysts, what are your predictions for the upcoming game?
All right. Well, Oregon's number 3 as of now, and we are at number 22 in the AP poll. Oregon is going to shut down Arizona offense. In a way, I think there'll be a lot of scoring in this game, but at the end of the day, Oregon's going to come out on top. My prediction, and this is nice actually, it's 42-30. Marcus Mariota, 308 yards passing against Tennessee Tech, and DeAnthony Thomas, 22 all-purpose yards off 10 touches. So tell me exactly how our defense is necessarily supposed to shut that down.
I think that Oregon is going to win by at least 12 points, like you were saying, maybe possibly even more than that. Arizona has a great offense this year, but the defenses they faced so far, and even the offenses they faced, Oklahoma State was a good offense. Oregon is number 3 in the country. They're title contenders, and I just don't. I really like what the Arizona Wildcats are doing this year. They have a good offense, 3rd in the nation, 46.3 points per game, and they lead all of college football with 108 first downs, but I just don't think they could win a shootout with Oregon, especially you were talking about their weapons. They have Mariota at quarterback, Barner, Thomas are the speedsters at running back. There's just too many weapons.
My guess for this game is Arizona comes up short 17-28 for Oregon. I don't think it'll be a high-scoring game. I just doubt that Oregon will be able to score as many more than 28, 30 points on our defense. But I also feel like we'll come short on offense because their defense is just too good. But prediction with the 17 points for Arizona also consists of having a field goal, which will be great to have a field goal away from home.
Well, the Oregon crowd is obviously very, very harsh, and we're going to be away. How do you think Matt Scott will fare against them away?
I believe that
he'll do all right. He's just not going to win the game, though. I don't think they could win a shootout with Oregon.
Yeah, I disagree. I think this is one of those games that Matt Scott might have a couple of interceptions.
He's going to show some flaws, which is okay. He's playing a very good team.
I just think they have one of the best safeties in the nation and one of the best left backs in the nation. So if there's a team that he's going to get a couple of picks, it will be against Oregon, especially with the schedule that we've been given. So
also, just one more thing, this is away from the subject, but on the teleprompter, the score of the 49ers game right now is 17-9 Niners with 3 minutes and 33 seconds to go in the third quarter. So that was just from the old script. We're sorry about that.
Thank you.
All right, thanks,
it's the
Joey.
first episode. Rookie mistakes. It's all right.
Thanks for the help, Joey.
Bad.
Well, it's time for the final word. Each one of these analysts will have 30 seconds to discuss the topic of their choosing. I'm going to toss it up to Salva first. You have 30 seconds, Salva.
So I'll start with Jim Calhoun's retirement. He left UConn, picked up when he got there a program that it was not on the map. Now it's a national contender, won 3 national championships under him, 99, 04, and 11. Especially championships that he was not they were not favorites to win. He made right now UConn. He is one of the best teams in the Big East, if not the best team, and he has had players like Ray Allen, Richard Hamilton, or Kemba Walker. So great legacy, and I hope he does well in whatever he follows next in his career.
Evyn, what do you have for us?
I got to talk about my fantasy team. Victor Cruz, thanks for coming through. But Fitz, really? I talk about the Cardinals game, big upset, and you give me 4 yards. Seriously, I already lost last week. Let's hope I don't lose this week, but it's not looking too good. And I have to mention the fact, old mentor, Zach Clark, he used to be on Dorm Room Sports Chat. We were freaking out because we got to talk about basketball because I am a basketball freak and we'll all figure that out. But, so really happy I got to talk about Rondé Jefferson and all the basketball. So.
All right, Joey, you're next.
I'm going to mix it up and talk about tennis. Andy Roddick was one of my favorite tennis players growing up. He was an American, and the other week at the U.S. Open, he retired, and I'm going to miss him. He had a blistering serve. We can all remember that one time. Sorry, my head's blocking the ticker, but anyways, remember that one serve where he stuck the ball right in the clay of the court. That was just incredible. He would have so many more Grand Slam titles if it wasn't for Roger Federer. I'm sure a lot of other tennis players could say the same, but just I salute you, Andy Roddick. So
Thanks,
good luck
Joey.
with your career as well.
All right, that will wrap up tonight's episode of Dorm Room Sports Chat. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be here next week with another exciting episode. For Salva, Evyn, and Joey, I'm Emi Comia. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.